Hello, today we'll be going through practice questions 11 to 20 for the ISACA CISM exam. Let's begin. Which of the following is the best method to protect consumer private information for an online public website? The correct answer is B. Encrypt consumer data in transit and at rest. The best overall protection for consumer private information is to ensure it is encrypted both in transit and at rest. This approach provides end-to-end protection, preventing unauthorized access or exposure even if data is intercepted or storage media are compromised. Why the other options are incorrect? A. Apply strong authentication to online accounts. Strong authentication protects user access, not the data itself. It's an important control, but doesn't ensure the confidentiality of stored or transmitted information. C. Use secure encrypted transport layer. Encrypting data in transit is essential, but only covers part of the data lifecycle. Without encryption at rest, data could still be exposed on the server. D. Apply a masking policy to the consumer data. Masking hides sensitive data in displays or reports, but doesn't protect it during transmission or storage. It's a supplemental, not comprehensive control. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Which of the following is the most important consideration in a bring your own device program to protect company data in the event of a loss? The correct answer is B. The ability to centrally manage devices. In a BYOD program, the most important control to protect company data in case of device loss is centralized device management, typically through a mobile device management or enterprise mobility management solution. This allows the organization to remotely enforce security policies, wipe corporate data, enforce encryption, and lock lost or stolen devices, minimizing data exposure. Why the other options are incorrect? A. The ability to remotely locate devices. Location tracking helps find lost devices but doesn't guarantee protection of sensitive data if the device is accessed by unauthorized users. C. The ability to restrict unapproved applications. Restricting apps helps reduce malware risks but doesn't directly protect data in the event of physical loss or theft. D. The ability to classify types of devices. Device classification supports inventory management and policy assignment, but doesn't provide active protection or recovery capability when data is at risk. Therefore, the correct answer is B. An information security manager has been asked to determine whether an information security initiative has reduced risk to an acceptable level. Which of the following activities would provide the best information for the information security manager to draw a conclusion? The correct answer is B. Performing a risk assessment. To determine whether an information security initiative has reduced risk to an acceptable level, the information security manager must perform a follow-up risk assessment. This assessment compares the current residual risk to the organization's defined risk appetite or tolerance. It provides concrete evidence of whether the initiative successfully mitigated the targeted risks. Why the other options are incorrect? A. Initiating a cost-benefit analysis of the implemented controls. A cost-benefit analysis measures financial efficiency, not whether risk has been reduced to an acceptable level. C. Reviewing the risk register. The risk register shows recorded risks and their statuses, but it does not provide updated, evidence-based measurements of residual risks. D. Conducting a business impact analysis. A BIA identifies critical processes and potential business impacts from disruptions. It does not evaluate the effectiveness of implemented risk mitigation measures. Therefore, the correct answer is B. An organization that uses external cloud services extensively is concerned with risk monitoring and timely response. The best way to address this concern is to ensure. The correct answer is B. Appropriate service level agreements are in place. When an organization relies heavily on external cloud services, the best way to ensure risk monitoring and timely response is to have clear, enforceable SLAs. These agreements should define measurable expectations, such as incident response times, monitoring responsibilities, reporting frequency, and escalation procedures, ensuring that both the provider and the organization meet security and operational requirements. Why the other options are incorrect? A. The availability of continuous technical support. Technical support ensures help when issues arise but doesn't guarantee timely monitoring or response unless explicitly defined in an SLA. C. A right to audit clause is included in contracts. A right to audit clause allows periodic reviews but doesn't ensure ongoing monitoring or real-time response capability. D. Internal security standards are in place. Internal standards guide internal practices but have limited influence over third-party providers who must be bound by SLAs for enforceability. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Which of the following is the best way to ensure that organizational security policies comply with data security regulatory requirements? The correct answer is B. Align the policies to the most stringent global regulations. When an organization relies heavily on external cloud services, the best way to ensure risk monitoring and timely response is to have clear, enforceable SLAs. These agreements should define measurable expectations, such as incident response times, monitoring responsibilities, reporting frequency, and escalation procedures, ensuring that both the provider and the organization meet security and operational requirements. Why did the options are incorrect? A. The availability of continuous technical support. Technical support ensures help when issues arise but doesn't guarantee timely monitoring or response unless explicitly defined in an SLA. C. A right to audit clause is included in contracts. A right to audit clause allows periodic reviews but doesn't ensure ongoing monitoring or real-time response capability. D. Internal security standards are in place. Internal standards guide internal practices but have limited influence over third-party providers who must be bound by SLAs for enforceability. Therefore, the correct answer is B. The primary reason for defining the information security roles and responsibilities of staff throughout an organization is to... The correct answer is C. Enforce individual accountability. Defining information security roles and responsibilities ensures that each employee knows exactly what is expected of them regarding protecting information assets. This establishes individual accountability, meaning that actions can be traced back to responsible personnel. It also helps prevent gaps or overlaps in security responsibilities. Why do the options are incorrect? A. Comply with security policy. Policies outline what must be done, but defining roles and responsibilities is what enables enforcement of those policies. It's the reason, not the result. B. Increase corporate accountability. Corporate accountability applies at the organizational level, while assigning roles and responsibilities focuses on individual accountability. D. Reinforce the need for training. Training supports role execution but isn't the main reason for defining roles. The primary goal is to make sure everyone is personally accountable for security-related actions. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Threat and vulnerability assessments are important primarily because they are... The correct answer is B. Needed to estimate risk. Threat and vulnerability assessments are essential because they form the foundation for estimating risk. Risk is determined by evaluating the likelihood that a threat will exploit a vulnerability and the impact if it does. Without understanding threats and vulnerabilities, it's impossible to accurately calculate or prioritize risks within the organization. Why do the options are incorrect? A. Used to establish security investments. While the results of a risk assessment can influence investments, the primary purpose of threat and vulnerability assessments is to measure risk, not funding. C. The basis for setting control objectives. Control objectives are typically derived after the risk assessment process, not directly from threat and vulnerability assessments alone. D. Elements of the organization's security posture. They contribute to understanding the security posture, but their main role is in risk estimation, which drives decision-making for controls and mitigation. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Which of the following should be an information security manager's primary focus during the development of a critical system storing highly confidential data? The correct answer is A. Ensuring the amount of residual risk is acceptable. During the development of a critical system that stores highly confidential data, the information security manager's primary focus should be to ensure that residual risk, the risk remaining after controls are implemented, is within the organization's acceptable risk tolerance. This ensures that all necessary security measures are in place to protect the data without over or under securing the system relative to business needs. Why the other options are incorrect? B. Reducing the number of vulnerabilities detected. Minimizing vulnerabilities is important but not the ultimate goal. Even with few vulnerabilities, risk could still be unacceptable if the remaining ones are critical. C. Avoiding identified system threats. It's impossible to avoid all threats. The goal is to manage them effectively by applying appropriate controls and risk mitigation. D. Complying with regulatory requirements. Compliance is important, but it only ensures adherence to minimum standards. It doesn't necessarily mean the system's residual risk is acceptable for the organization's specific context. Therefore, the correct answer is A. When evaluating vendors for sensitive data processing, which of the following should be the first step to ensure the correct level of information security is provided? The correct answer is B. Include information security criteria as part of vendor selection. The first step in ensuring the correct level of information security during vendor evaluation is to integrate information security requirements into the vendor selection process. This ensures that only vendors capable of meeting the organization's security standards are considered from the beginning, preventing unsuitable vendors from progressing to later stages like contracting or performance monitoring. Why the other options are incorrect? A. Develop metrics for vendor performance. Metrics are useful for ongoing monitoring after selection, not for the initial evaluation of whether a vendor meets the required security standards. C. Review third-party reports of potential vendors. This provides supporting evidence but should occur after defining clear selection criteria to know what to look for. D. Include information security clauses in the vendor contract. Contract clauses formalize requirements, but that happens after a vendor is chosen. The priority is to select vendors who already meet the necessary security standards. Therefore, the correct answer is B. An information security team is investigating an alleged breach of an organization's network. Which of the following would be the best single source of evidence to review? The correct answer is B. SIEM tool. A SIEM tool is the best single source of evidence during a breach investigation because it aggregates and correlates logs and alerts from multiple security systems, including IDS, antivirus, firewalls, and servers, into one centralized view. This allows investigators to trace the attack timeline, identify the affected systems, and analyze correlated events efficiently. Why the other options are incorrect? A. File integrity monitoring software. FIM detects changes to files and configurations but provides a narrow, system-level view and lacks the broader context of network activity and event correlation. C. IDS. An IDS can alert on suspicious network activity, but it only offers partial visibility and does not consolidate data from other sources. D. Antivirus software. Antivirus logs are limited to malware-related detections and miss broader attack indicators such as network intrusions, privilege misuse, or lateral movement. Therefore, the correct answer is B. We have come to the end of today's video. If you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Goodbye.